I'm Eric Hayden.
I'm Nick Mason.
And this is Neon Static. Welcome to episode 17 of Neon Static. We are here miles away from each other, looking at our screens and feeling like we're real close. Me and Nick. Hi, Nick.
Hello. How do you know how I'm feeling? Can't just presume for me. Can't speak for me. This is getting off to a weirdly aggressive
What's the
start,
proximity that you feel to me right now?
Sufficiently close.
Sufficient for what, Nick?
Sufficient to record a podcast.
It's perfect. Yeah, I can't hear you feet echoing into my ears or something. Hi.
Hello.
We're doing a podcast where I'm all thrown off because last time we did this, we were sitting on a couch together, touching hairs.
Yeah. Yes.
Sharing a microphone.
Bonking heads when we
bonking heads. Yeah.
Went in to
this
say
is a different
something
experience.
Witty and insightful.
I know. Your timing's all messed up too, because you're like, wait, I don't want to move too fast lest we bonk our head.
Right? Just desperately trying to avoid that the entire time.
Yeah. We have some cool stuff in store for you for this episode. We're going to talk about some rules things. We got some new news things about Netrunner news. We're going to talk about some cards too.
Yeah.
That's a very detailed outline of the episode we're about to do.
Love it. So why don't we go to the 24/7 news cycle?
Because before we do that, we're going to talk about our Patreon. We're going to just say, before we get into the episode, we want to thank our patrons who support us in helping to build a better show. If you want to support the podcast and the YouTube channel, check out patreon.com/neonstatic. Now, Nick.
Let's do 24/7 news cycle.
Okay. Newsify me.
Yes. We have a bunch of different news. One is actually recent history, I guess. It's not quite news. Anyway, we did the meme contest. It was a whole stream. It was a really fun stream. I really, really enjoyed it. Yeah. You can see me realize a joke in real time multiple times over the course of the night. Yeah. So it was good. It was a good time. And who were our winners?
We had 3. We had the winner of the grand prize winner, the popular vote was Scarius with a quote from Man Snared, which is just every time I think about it, I get a giggle.
It's a solid classic.
Yeah. What are you going to do? Snare me?
Yep.
I made some custom alt arts whereon I wrote that on snares.
Amazing. Yeah, they look really cool. I like the layers you added.
Thanks. Yeah, I used oil-based silver, like metallic Sharpie. And then I wrote in black in the middle of that. Anyway, it's pretty neat. I'm pretty cool. Then, Nick, your personal favorite.
Yes. Game Loss by Swess. Which is just an absolute masterwork of blending the existing meme, the Loss meme, with the art from Netrunner, and also a mechanical, like the cards that are listed as the art make up the way that you would die in the game. It's very good. It's
a quote in cards from Ranji Doge's Have You Seen This Man or Do You Know This Man deck? The 4 of the cards that you will see as you are being flatlined.
Exactly.
Which is classic. And
so good.
And yeah, it just works very well.
Yeah.
And then my personal favorite that just gave me a good old fashioned chuckle was Steve's #GlowUp by Ronya or Ranha. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce the username, but Anyway, all awesome entries, and we had so many entries that were awesome. I think we had 77 memes that we went through that night.
Yeah.
Looking forward to next year already. I've got plans. I'm going to keep a spreadsheet next year, so I know who's in the moment, which will be a little bit more fun to announce.
Might help.
Like the names of the people on the stream. But
yeah.
Anyway, that was a good time. We're definitely going to do it again. Lots of memes were had.
For sure.
More news. We have NAN PC continuing to happen, the North American Netrunner player circuit.
Yes.
Ours is coming up soon. Very soon.
Yes. Like really soon. Like, oh God, I should really start jamming games.
I got you. Don't worry.
Right.
Yeah, what do we got? 1, 2, 3 weeks. Boston and PC. It's technically outside of Boston, but that's okay. It's the 25th and 26th of May. We're going to be down there. We hear it's going to be quite the fun crowd. You should come out, play some games, say hi. It's going to be awesome. After that, there's Off the Grid in Twin Cities, and then Philadelphia in July. In San Francisco, there's going to be one sometime in July as well. Exact date TBD last time I checked. We also have a local CO coming up soon, Sunday, June 23rd. Sunday, I will say again, June 23rd. There'll be a link in the show notes to the Always Be Running. If you can make it, come to the CO. It's fun.
Yeah.
We have a good time. There's usually somewhere between, 12 and 18 players most of the time. This is for that sweet Cat's Cradle playmat, so come get a piece.
Yes. And then we're still going to Worlds. I got the time off today approved. So
that is
happening.
Solid, tangible evidence of commitment to do it.
Or maybe just to take a week off in October.
No.
Also an option. I could just chill at home.
You think I'm going to allow that to happen?
You're going to package me up.
I am going to come to your house,
ship me to San
bodily
Francisco.
Put you in that plane. Yeah.
Yeah.
God damn it! I need a friend.
Wow, that's sad.
Yep. Hey, listen. This is how the world works. Nobody's gonna be my friend unless I force them to. So.
Wow.
And that's years of training have brought me to this conclusion.
Harsh.
It's a harsh world, Nick.
Yeah, you're just yeah.
Speaking of forcing people to be my friends and torturing them and subjecting them to all sorts of torture. I don't know. This isn't very fun sounding. Anyway, let's do spec work. Nicholas.
Yes.
Saint Nicholas. Sorry.
Jolly old. Yep, that's me.
I don't know why I felt the need to do that. I bet you've never heard that before in your life.
No, this is new. Now, who is this Saint Nicholas?
Tell me more.
Yeah. I'm only aware of the Tsar.
Tsar Nicholas?
I guess there were two. But anyway.
Okay. I saw a question recently that tickled my brain in a fun way for a moment. And then I said, ooh, I actually know the answer to this. And I think that more people should if they don't. So I'm going to quiz you.
Okay.
I think you'll know.
All right.
First, A-level credit if you can get the answer correctly without reading the card text. And if you can't, then I will read the card text.
Okay.
Let's say you're in this scenario. You are the Corp. You are playing a vicious R+ deck that has B1001s in it.
All right.
And the runner is Arasana. And they're running some ice. You already have a tag. Can the runner install Physarum Entangler And does the corp have a window to use B1001 before they bypass it?
So in this scenario, we're assuming there's something like a Cubon or something like that on the ice that makes it meaningful that you're bypassing it?
No. Just can the B1001 be used to end the run once the corporation sees that, there's a Physarum Entangler that's just got installed using Ari?
Well, no. So the way priority works in this game, as I understand it, is that basically you hold priority until you're done taking actions, then you pass it to the other side. So I bring out my Physarum Entangler. If I want to trigger it right then, I can.
Right?
That
is incorrect, but that's because I've been sneaky and haven't read you the words on the cards. And I think you'll understand in a second. Physarum Entangler says...
dang it, you've already encountered it by the time Arasana puts it down. You can't use it. There's no trigger. No, it's the same trigger. It doesn't see the encounter trigger.
Okay.
Sorry, explain it.
Physarum Entangler, there's a bunch of cards here that all come into play, but the Physarum says, install only on a piece of ice. Whenever you encounter host ice, if it is not a barrier, you may pay 1 credit for each subroutine it has. If you do, bypass that ice. When the corp first purges, then this gets trashed. So whenever you encounter the host piece of ice, you can use it to bypass. B1001 says remove a tag and the run. You cannot use this ability during a run on the server. That's fine. The main thing here is approach and encounter. Ari can install Physarum on approach and see... it'll be there when the encounter happens. However, there is no way for the corp to be unable to use B1001 in this scenario because Physarum has to be installed on approach, and then there has to be an opportunity for the corp to do a thing before that approach phase ends and you move on to the encounter phase where you would get to Physarum.
Gotcha. Okay,
right.
So... yeah, I was thinking of it as you get to the encounter and then Ari can install, which is true. You could install after the encounter. Just doesn't do anything for the Physarum because you haven't seen anything.
That's right. You've already missed the when you encounter step. Yeah. So that's just kind of a thing. I thought people be aware of this. Approach, encounter. I feel like that if you have running on ice as those two separate stages clearly defined in your mind, a lot of questions get cleared up. And especially if you're playing Ari, you really need to understand that.
Yeah.
There's approach and encounter. And when you're playing in person with Ari, you got to say I'm going to run here, but don't do anything yet.
Right.
I'm thinking about my approach, or I'm going to do something on approach, or no action on approach. Be very clear on approach and an encounter.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my little spec work thing. What's your Starlit Night thing?
Well, so this is just a little simpler thing. So say you have, 10 tags and you run into a Starlit Night and we're on threat 4+. How much does your Physarum Entangler cost to bypass the Starlit Night?
So on encounter, it gains them.
Yes.
But the corpse abilities resolve after the runner's abilities because of runner priority, because it's the runner's turn.
Exactly.
So they would just pay 2 credits because it hasn't resolved the on-encounter effect yet. Yeah, that's cool.
Similar things for Loki, and Loki in particular is interesting with Physarum because if Loki chooses to become a barrier, like copies a barrier...
Should we maybe read these cards real quick?
No. Yes.
Starlit Night is a 5 to res, 2 strength, Sentry, Observer Ice, Threat 4. When the runner encounters this ice, it gains X and the run subroutines for the remainder of this run after its other subroutines. X is equal to the number of tags the runner has. And then it's got 2 give the runner 1 tag subs that are printed. So the whole thing on encounter.
Right.
Obviously on threat 4. I should have said, is it threat 3?
Well, I did say it was threat 4.
Oh, you did. Okay.
I
was
That's part of the hypothetical
student
here. So, and then Loki is a 6 strength
You should just say
Biroid
strength.
ice. 6 strength Biroid ice that doesn't have any subtypes. It says when the runner encounters this ice, choose another rezzed piece of ice. For the remainder,
it's a Biroid.
well, okay, that's a subtype, but it's not a killer break. All those.
I know.
For the remainder of this run, this ice gains the subtypes of the chosen ice and gains the subroutine of that ice in order before all its other subroutines. And then it has a thing that subroutine that is just the runner must either end the run or shuffle all cards from their grip into the stack. So if you run into this with the Physarum Entangler, your on encounter goes off first. You pay 1 to bypass it, and then you don't care about what type it is. It does not even get the opportunity to become a barrier and thus immune to Physarum Entangler, much less to increase the cost.
Timing's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool to be a rules nerd.
Exactly.
Can you dig it? We're cool.
What?
What? What? We're being
This
cool.
is an after school special now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just a bill up on Capitol Hill.
I'm just a rule in the rules committee.
Okay. Sorry. We have to stop what we're doing because I just realized that we need to overdub the I'm Just a Bill in Netrunner and make it like the ultimate meme. Also, we need music production.
And animation and
yep.
All
I mean,
right,
I can handle
start on
slapping cards on stuff in After Effects and tracking them around. That's fine.
Love it. Okay. Well, you do that and I'll be over here.
I'm just going to insert my voice like badly for specific words in the song. It'll just be like, I'm just and then me cutting in, just going,
you just cutting in and being like, proposed ruling. I'm just a proposed ruling up here on Capitol in the rules committee. Amazing.
Yeah, that's the story of how rules get made in Netrunner.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I would not be sad if some industrious listener made this a reality without me having to create this from my brain.
Please don't. That's so much work.
Oh, God, please do. Please do.
No, please. Mercy on yourselves.
Well, sure. What do you think? Is that good enough?
I think that's good enough. We're talking about Schoolhouse Rock memes. We are well past spec work.
What was the other Schoolhouse Rock video that was everywhere when we were? We're dating ourselves, by the way.
I'm Just a Bill is literally the only one I've ever seen.
No, there's the second one. Is it something about brushing your teeth or something?
What do you mean no? No, there's a second one. You don't know my life. We're right back to the energy we started this thing out with.
Okay. Conjunction junction. What's your function? That's it. That's what it is.
Okay. All right. That is the one.
That's the other one.
All right. Yeah.
Quick.
We desperately
think of anything else. Let's go into the depths. I forgot Nick can't do introductions because he can't hear when the music stops.
It's true.
This is Into the Depths. This is our segment where we talk about the main topic at hand. And today, that topic is we're going to talk about our favorite RW cards. RWR. Did I just say RW cards?
Yeah. Well,
the read-writable cards. The favorite RWR cards that we've been playing with and enjoying so far since Rebellion Without Rehearsal has been released.
Yes. There's a bunch of them.
Remember RW CDs?
Well, they were
CDs
called
that you
CDRWs, yes.
CD, yeah. What a cool technology.
Hey, you thought you were aging yourself with the other thing that you were talking about, but man.
I personally was a fan of mini disc. That was my jam. A big mini discer.
All right.
That was a bit
Betamax of its day.
Honestly, those things never got scratched, and they were cool and hipster, which is...
Were they?
Yeah. Which part?
Either cool or hipster.
Hipsters didn't exist at the time, so...
I was going to say, they became hipster 15 years later.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about some Netrunner cards.
Let's do that.
Nick, here's how we're going to do this for the listener's sake. We have a bunch of cards we've thrown into a document, and we're going to kind of scroll around until one of our eyeballs falls upon something it wants to talk about.
Yeah.
All by itself.
Yeah.
Without the use of other body parts. Nick, you go first. Pick one.
All right. I'm going to talk about the one that when you saw that I had added it, you were surprised. It's JK. Janena JK Dumont Kindelan.
Let me scroll down to the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
Okay, there it is.
This is a one-cost NBN asset academic clone. When your turn begins, place 3 credits on this asset, and then you can click Add this asset to HQ, take all credits from this asset. You may install 1 card from HQ. And it's 1 to trash, 3 influence. What's that? Go ahead.
I didn't know she was a clone.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. She loved being part of the rough and tumble politics and fundraising from the calm of her own home.
Yeah. So she's an interesting card because it's kind of Rashida-y, right? So one of the things that I've been thinking about is, how are they going to replace Rashida when they go into Dawn? And Rashida, being an FFG card, rotates out. Could just do the thing where you change the numbers a little bit. It's 4 credits and 2 cards or something like that. But I feel like this type of asset is an interesting way to do that, where it's something that if it stays on the board until the start of your turn, it is going to give you some benefit that will get you moving forward. And also, it's not really going to take a click when it does its thing, right? So this does, yes, you have to pay a click to add it to HQ, but you gain the 3 money, and then you can actually reinstall this from its own ability, or it can be any other card. It's an interesting card from a design stance because of how it kind of shows them looking at a similar outcome, as Rashida, but trying to break up different parts of it.
Yeah.
I find interesting.
I feel like to make it actually be valuable so that you're not just clicking for 2 credits. Well, 2 clicks for 2 credits, sort of, although the second one is kind of to install, I guess.
Right. Provided you have another install you'd want to do, it's okay,
I feel like you want to leave this out for 2, right?
Right.
And ideally, I guess, in an Oppo deck, I don't know. I have not felt like this card deserved a slot in a competitive deck, but I haven't tried it, to be perfectly fair.
Yeah, and I have yet to sleeve this as well. My interest in it is more the design of it is really an interesting... I don't know. It's an interesting effect that has me thinking on exactly that question of, well, maybe you just replace Rashida by breaking up her different things that different decks need more of or less of into sort of constituent parts and spread them around the card pool a little bit.
I believe the T, this is weird. I believe the T on the screen that she's looking at is the Titan Transnational T from ID of old. Titan Transnational was a Wayland ID that was, what was it? Whenever you score an agenda, you may place 1 agenda counter on it, which was sick.
Oh, that's cool.
Also 17 influence.
Ooh.
Yeah, Titan. Oh, can we get Titan back? That was sweet. Anyway, memory lane. Where's my mouse cursor? Can't find it. Good, great. I don't know, JK. I think maybe I should try it. This card got panned by the authorities,
Uh-huh.
so I haven't been bothering to try it. But
And again, I have yet to sleeve it up. My whole thing with it is that the design is cool, and there's a bunch of cards actually on this list where like my primary interest in them is like, oh, that's like a really cool thing to have designed, and like, yeah, it says interesting things to me about how the design team is looking at the game and what players need and what they want to do. So
yeah, cool. All right. Well, I'll make an attempt to give it a shot. Let's see. What's another cool card? Scrolling. Trick Shot.
Oh, Trick Shot.
Trick Shot is on the opposite end of the is this card strong spectrum.
It is so obviously incredibly strong.
It's very strong. It's very strong.
Insane.
So 1 cost event, it's a run event. Place 4 credits on this event. You can spend hosted credits during runs. Sounds like a bad overclock, right? Run R&D. If successful, place 2 credits on this event and access 1 additional card when you breach R&D. Okay. When that run ends, I mean, like you could stop right at that second part.
Right.
And it's a good card.
Right. 6
credits and a double access. But then when that run ends, you may run a remote server.
Right.
What?
And you still have the credits from the first run going. And
yeah, either 4 or 6, depending if it was successful. And you don't even need it to be successful to do the second run.
Yes.
And also a second act. Like I feel like the multi-axis is just kind of rubbing it in Anarch's face for once.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I got a card.
Right. But no, it's such a good card. It's such a neat card. And it is also like, it just feels like they just took all of the knobs on the card, you know, like the settings knobs, and just turned it up. It only costs 1. It does all these things. It gives you credits and money, especially with an RE deck, right? Where you can install stuff in the middle of a run.
Yeah.
Multi-access, and allows you to hit assets and centrals at the same time. And blah, blah. It's wild to me.
It's very good. I feel like it could have said place 3 credits on this event for that first sentence, and it would still be pretty good.
Right.
I would still take this card. Yeah.
Right.
It does also feel like a trick shot in poker.
Yeah.
It feels like it, which is they've captured that so well on this card, which is a big part of why I like it.
What is a trick shot in poker?
It is. Have you ever seen like the ESPN trick shot things that they do?
That is billiards.
Poker? Did I say poker?
You did.
Cool.
Okay, I thought you were talking about something else, because like you play all the other card games, like trick-taking games. Maybe this is...
Nope.
Maybe you could transform the rules of poker at some point. I don't know.
No, my brain just auto-corrected that word into the wrong game. And
Got it.
I said, that sounds right. That's a word. That's a game.
Let's go.
All checks pass. Continue publishing this word to the internet.
Yep.
Yeah.
But in any event.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's just real good, and it feels good to play strong cards. So
yeah.
That's Trick Shot. Nick, you're up.
Yes.
Surprise.
So, all right, I'm going to go back to the Corp Well, because this is another one where I looked at it and was like, oh, that's really interesting. And that is Charlotte Casador. An asset clone. It's an NBN 2 influence asset, 0 cost. You can advance this asset. When your turn begins, you may remove 1 hosted advancement counter to gain 4 money and draw a card. Or you can trash it and a hosted advancement counter to gain 3. So again, you know, I look at this and I'm just like, oh, that's like NGO front, right? NGO front is like always a blowout, but this is something that once it sticks on the board for a turn or two, it just becomes this giant target, and it allows you to drag people through really like painful servers because you kind of have to get rid of this. Like the fact that you are advancing for a click, it's effectively gain 3 money and draw a card like at the start of your next turn. It's crazy. So
I mean, like the best use of this that I've seen so far are the Atea decks with Lacosta grids in there.
mm-hmm.
So you get a Lacosta and a Charlotte, and then you're just dripping 4 credits a turn until they can deal with it.
Yeah.
It's pretty great. And Lacosta's expensive to trash, so you're going for the Charlotte, but of course they pop the Charlotte and get 3 credits anyway on the way in.
Right. And then maybe the Lacosta is still sitting around and now it can feed your agendas or, bio vaults or whatever else you'd like to throw in that server.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know outside of the Atea decks. If there's another, I guess Ag Infusion probably likes Charlotte plenty.
Yeah, I was going to say Ag
Is-
Infusion's the other place that I was thinking.
Isuak really likes it. Because Isuak tends to play Lacostas as well. It's one of like the primary ways to get the ability to fire on the ID. So if you're already doing that, you need money. Just stick a Charlotte in there until you're ready to score a card out, an agenda. It is Cachador.
Cachador. All right, thank you.
Casador. Charlotte Casador.
I was going to say, I thought I knew what that accent meant, but
I said it and then said, no, that sounded wrong, and immediately checked my pronunciation guide again. I really appreciate that they put this out, by the way.
right, it's the best.
It's quite good. It's kind of required, I think, if you're setting these things in places where, like, I think the primary, the main group of people playing Netrunner are English speakers, and plenty of us are ignorant as to how to pronounce other language, in a way that doesn't sound horrible.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, let's see. New cards. Lobosomum. I'm going to go back to Shaper. Back to the Shaper well. First of all, it's an upset on Wolf, so you won me over at that.
It's a werewolf. It's so cool.
It is. And yes, 8 is a lot, but Kit and Rigging Up both exist. Kit with Spark. That has popped off, and lots of people have been having success with it. You played a little bit of Kit, Lobosomum, Spark, Orca situation recently, right?
Yeah, I've been having a good deal of fun with it. So just because, I played decks like this before, but they always felt fragile when you ended up drawing the one card that you wanted to spark into, like, too early, or you spark into the wrong thing. And the Kit version of the deck just has the legs to, keep going past that and make something work even without that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's nice that Kit. Oh, I was going to say, I thought Kit was a 40 card, but I'm thinking of Chaos Theory.
No, I believe Kit is 10 influence though, which
that's right. That's the reason why I kind of had this on mind, is that one of those numbers is smaller than normal.
Yep.
But as others have pointed out, I don't think that 8 is like an unreasonable amount to pay for this in the first place. So even if you can't spark it, if you happen to draw into a bunch of econ and you can't find a spark and you just got to go, you can just pay the 8 because it's 2 breakers.
Yeah.
And they're both good. It's, like breakers cost about 3 to 4, sometimes less, sometimes more. But it's, 8 is 4 plus 4. There you go.
Yeah.
You get 2 breakers down.
Legitimately quite solid.
Outside of Kit, I know that like Padma decks don't mind having this.
Right. Because it is a charge target.
Right. Have you seen it in like lat? Have we seen lat decks that do this?
I haven't seen any. I've only seen it in Padma and Kit, but I'm not jamming a ton of games, so
right. Yeah, there. Me neither.
But
even a quick search on
2 influence,
NRDB.
I feel like there's somebody else out there. This might be worth experimenting with in like Anarch or something.
Yeah, I was going to say splashing it is pretty fun. Just like scrolling down the list, there I see one in a Lu deck, one in a Quetzal deck. That's interesting. One in a Ken startup deck. So yeah, startup. There's a whole lot. There's a whole world there. Small world, but it's a whole world that I have not been keeping my finger on the pulse of lately. It sounds like kind of rough right now in startup, but
really, yeah, I have no idea what's going on there.
I think like punitive Counter-Strike is a big problem. But I just have heard stories that it's like kind of,
it's a rough time.
Yeah. And like criminal econ is quite bad.
I mean, but that's also the case in standard. So, that's just easing people into the broader setup, which is the whole point of the startup.
Made aware of this because of our meme contest, but like in standard, at least there's bravado.
Mm-hmm.
There's Carpe Diem is even like not even available in startup anymore.
Yeah.
It's literally like career fair, and red team. Which is just
red team.
Pretty sad.
It's sad.
Yeah. What's your next card, Nick?
Speaking of 2 influence cards, so this is directly below Lobosomum in our document here. But so this is the reason I think why playing this kit deck has not felt as all in on sparking into Lobosomum, and that is Ashen Epilogue. 5-cost neutral event with for 2 influence. Shuffle your grip and heap into your stack, then remove the top 5 cards of your stack from the game. Draw 5 cards. Remove this event from the game. So I have had a couple of games now where things just don't work out. I'm drawing my Lobosomums, or I have to install one to keep up any form of pressure. Install it from hand for full cost, which is the worst feeling in the world. And I was eventually able to like kind of stay in those games because Ashen Epilogue was there to kind of just refresh my deck. I was able to get all the, stuff I needed installed, and then you refresh the deck, and then it's just every single card you draw from that point on is econ.
Right. With kit, there's not too much to install in the first place. There's like 2 cards.
Exactly. But
or 3. I guess there's Anacam in those decks to help you draw through them.
Yes. But like even then, the order that you get them out in, versus your events is like kind of important.
Yeah.
So
we don't want to remove like your one of Orca with an Ashen.
Well, yeah, I mean that would be quite bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I've had Ashen, a one of copy in a few decks, and the intent always is, and this is in like a Hoshiko, good stuff Hoshiko deck.
Oh yeah.
That are floating around, where you're trashing stuff, and who cares? You've got some labor rights, you've got your Ashen, you can refresh once all this installing is finally done, and that deck is doing a lot of installing.
Right.
And then you Ashen and you get all this econ back. And I don't know that I've got it to do the refresh perfectly thing more than once. I think I've done once. But I've, maybe played this style of deck 5 times. So it's not a huge sample set. But it is hard in any kind of a deck that's like doing self-damage. And this is all under your own control. So I guess that's partly on me. But you'll be holding this. And eventually like a random net damage will come and ping it out of your hand. And you go, oh no, now I need to like labor rights the Ashen back. Like,
yeah, all of a sudden it's a little more complicated than just, all right, I'm going to sit on this until the exact correct moment.
Right. Also, labor rightsing an Ashen back. Is there a way to make that a sure thing that you can do it? Or is it you labor rights your one Ashen and any other card, and they go, fine, you can have the other card?
Wait, what?
Is there a way to make sure that the corp doesn't have the option of?
What?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of. I'm thinking.
You're
of
thinking
DJ.
of Steve.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm caught up in
Okay.
the Steve game.
Gotcha.
Ignore me.
Yeah, that part I don't know, because the option that they choose gets removed from the game. I think they can just be like, oh, no, I'm definitely removing the Ashen. And yeah, you can have your labor rights. You get 3 cards back instead of an entire deck and also draw 5.
Yeah. I mean, like these decks will. I guess the idea is that you have. If you get a Steve down, you can Steve 2 Ashens back, 2 labor rights back to, know that you're going to get a labor rights back. This is assuming your Ashen's already been put in the bin. You don't need to hold it all game. You can just trash it. And then when you need to, as long as your Steve is installed, you can Steve, pull back one of the labor rights, guaranteed, and then pull back the Ashen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's the play, but it's, it's precarious. And then you're doing all this work, and then you still got to get an HQ. And if they make that hard for you, it can be a challenge. So also it costs 5. Like I know you're supposed to have all sorts of prepaid voice pads and stuff installed by then and all the econ in the world, but it's hard to just rip it in the middle of a game where it's like, I just want a new hand. I'm going to rip it and get 5 new cards.
Yeah, it's not exactly Diesel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, you're up.
I want to talk about the card that generated our little rules question thing there, Physarum Entangler.
Yes.
I really like Physarum Entangler. I think it is so well designed. It feels very strong, and it maybe end up being problematic, and the accreditation of it being well designed might come back to haunt me. But I think it is like the fact that it purges on virus, it trashes on purge, is a nice counterbalance. But it is like that quick strike, get by this thing, and then it is a problem. But there's a fun game where sometimes you just have to get in, and you cannot afford to run against a thing and face check it first. So you have to just play it blind and hope that it is something that you can Physarum, and then it'll be like an ice wall. And you're like, damn it. Like the fact that they made this thing say, if it's not a barrier, you can bypass it, is wonderful.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an interesting part of the design because, like, I don't know. So this gives kind of more play to things like, is it Umbrella, the one that says that, subroutines on the target ice can't be used to end the run?
That's no, that's it's not Umbrella. Banner, that's
the one, right?
Yeah.
So like those two things comboing together, just like you put those two together and you can get into anything. It's just gonna cost you something,
Right.
I don't know. Yeah. I like that, the focus of barriers, I feel like, is being brought out as just, obviously they're the end of the run ice and everything. But it's nice to see something like this where it's like, it doesn't work on barriers. Barriers keep you out. You need to find a way to get around them that isn't just like something that you slap down and ignore their tattoo bola or ice wall or something like that for the rest of the game.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this is a callback to a classic piece of ice that's still in the game, Femme Fatale. But it's been a long time since Femme has been relevant because it's so expensive, and the games where you can just kind of go, most of the time, I think when Femme was good, it was cheated out with like test run or something to let you get it down cheap or free, and then, bypass an ice and then return it to hand and do it again and again. And there have been a few decks in the past few years that use things like, what's the card? that lets you reveal
the top card. Yeah.
And get credits equal to the cost. It's a
Crim card, I want to say.
It's a Sable card.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one.
Okay. But so that doesn't even give you the credits, right? It gives them, it puts them on the event, I believe.
Yeah, it does.
For use during a run, so.
Oh, this is going to kill me. It's in the, is it in Midnight Sun or is it in Parhelion? It's in one of those two. Reprise? No, that's the more fun one.
Yeah, that one's real
Concerto.
Cool. There it is. Yep.
Yeah, reveal the top card of your stack and place credits equal to its printed play or install cost on this event on Concerto. Add the revealed card to your grip. Run any server. You can spend hosted credits during that run. So plays nicely in those decks where you can go, hey, I get 9 to do stuff with.
Yep.
You don't get to install the cards. You have to do other things to do that, but like you test run and then Concerto.
Puts it back on top of the deck at the end of the turn. So the next turn you just Concerto, and that draws the card off the top while also giving you a benefit, which is neat.
Yeah,
not good,
anyway,
but it's neat.
Yeah, pretty far sidetracked. Ficeram's cool. I've yet to try, but there's these Mercury decks out there that are doing well, just like bypassing the shit out of everything.
Yeah, just absolutely breakerless. Yeah, that stuff looks cool.
Well, it's Banner. Yeah, I guess you're not breaking anything. Banner and Ficeram and like a laser pointer and stuff. Yeah. You're up, Nick.
All right. Let's go find another Corp card. All right, so this is one that I am interested in. So it's a Hammer. This is a 6-cost Wayland Ice Sentry Destroyer Observer. And during each encounter with this ice, the runner cannot break more than one of its printed subroutines except using killers. Those subroutines are give the runner a tag, trash one installed resource or piece of hardware, and trash one installed program that is not a decoder, fractor, or killer. This thing is cool.
Yeah.
Like that static text on it at the top, like making it just
Boomerang.
A nightmare for Boomerang, Botulus, any of those kinds of things. Really cool. It does AI hate in a really interesting way that, like, I don't know, like this is kind of like a card like Wraparound almost, but it's more interesting because it says, like maybe you have like a kind of inefficient killer and you'd rather use your Amakua that's fully charged. But nope, you can only do that for one of the subs. So now you have to pump your Carmen to get it up here, like whatever it is.
What is it? What is the break math on this thing? It's 4 strength, 3 sub. Carmen is
3 strength, 2 to pump.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 to fully break with a Carmen.
Right.
That's probably best case. Besides like a really pumped up Echelon, right? If Echelon is like strength 4, strength 3, strength 2, you want it to be 4 ideally, because otherwise you got to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Right.
If Echelon is 4, it breaks for 3. But still, like, ooh.
Sorry.
Nick, you're getting into motorcycles?
Oh, yeah, that's me.
Yeah. You're just recording a podcast from motorcycle.
From the back of the motorcycle, which I've decided to fire up right now.
Where are you going?
Yeah, no, I got places to be, man.
Yeah. This podcast running long.
But in any event, the thing that I like about this, it is a ice that I looked at, and I have a really hard time evaluating ice and like whether it's good because I don't have all the like math internalized on like.
Okay, hold on that.
Okay,
Andre, I'm gonna continue to be a big Andre stan.
Okay,
and he has been not touting, but like sharing this rule of thumb that he uses to evaluate ice. And you look at the strength and the number of subroutines, and you add those two numbers up, right? So 4, 5, 6, 7. And like, I forget exactly what the rule of thumb he has is, that it's like the cost -1 or that number -1 should be the cost. I think it's that. I think it's that number -1 is like roughly what the cost it tends to be. But then there's usually a modifier for like special like on encounter effects or other things. There's like a rider on the card. It might make the card cost more. So I think that according to that, and if you like look at a bunch of pieces of ice across the format, you'll find that largely holds true. Now the ones that we've put in this document are outliers because they're strong.
Right.
But this one is undercosted according to that rule because it's 4, 5, 6, 7.
And
plus you'd think a -1 maybe it would be 7.
Right.
But it's only 6. And those subs, you can't even like necessarily break them very easily except for just being honest with killers.
Well, and the like 2 of them at least are really like flexibly useful for a lot of different decks. Giving the runner a tag is, almost always good. There's very few decks that can't use that for something. And then trash one installed resource or piece of hardware is nice because it gives you a ton of different targets. You can hit their console, you can hit their DJ Steve. Like that's such a cool thing. And it just, if you don't have the killer out and you face check into this thing, it gives you a really rough choice on, what you're going to Botulus or Boomerang or whatever. So
I am okay. So first of all, I'm sad that there's not a thematic tie into Anvil. Anvil and Hammer.
Yeah, that is fair.
They should have had something that worked in a set thematically together, and maybe there was originally, and it just couldn't work out. But also, I just noticed in looking at the art for this card that there's a tiny, tiny runner underneath that giant hammer. That's on a little like piece of rock or something.
Wait, there kind of is a link between the two, don't you think? Right?
Tell me what it is.
Well, they both have conditions that prevent the runner from breaking. Like if this condition happens, then the runner is going to take at least 2 of their subroutines, right? So Hammer, it's if they don't have a killer, they're going to take at least 2 of these subroutines. And Anvil is if I trash one of my other installed cards, the runner can't break the printed subroutines. So 2 of them are going to fire. And they both trash cards.
Okay.
I don't know. There's some stuff here. It's not the most direct, but there's, it's not like Anvil is like doing drafter things or something like that, where it's going to let you through, but it's not going to hurt that much, or it's just going to set up the corp better, rather. I don't know.
I wanted Hammer, like if Hammer gets trashed by Anvil, like you win the game. I don't know, something like a bomb goes off.
If Hammer gets trashed
secret
by
subroutine,
Anvil, you are using the wrong hammer, because like you should like choose your hammer to be strong enough that like it can smelt steel or whatever.
Thematically, it makes no sense. But have you seen anvils? They are huge and heavy and strong. True. Yeah, I don't know. That's All right. So I've. It's funny. You've basically been doing all corp stuff, and I've been doing runner stuff. So I'm going to do a corp card and talk about piranhas. This card I looked at originally and was kind of like, I don't get it. It's not that great. Who cares? I'll just have more cards as the runner. And it won't be a thing that matters. But that's not a thing you can do. You can't just ignore it.
Yeah.
So let's read it real quick. So as an additional cost to res this ice, it's 5 strength, 6 strength, 5 to res, code gate, illicit AP, ice. And it says, as an additional cost to res this ice, take 1 bad pub or remove 1 tag. That gave me pause, especially out of NBN. You may draw 1 card, do 1 net damage, and end the run if there are more cards in HQ than in the grip. Right. So, first of all, that additional cost to res. I guess sometimes you just take a bad pub, and it's okay because it sort of offsets how strong this ice is.
Right. Well, just looking at your strength plus subs kind of rule, right? Yeah. That gives you 9 for this card, right?
Right, but the cost of taking a bad pub is
that's a
higher cost than just a couple credits, right?
I know, but like 5 to res, still just the fact that you can from, a starting board state res this thing that gives you, if they can't break it, it gives you a 2-card swing and ends the run. Like, that's strong,
It is. I feel like also resing a piranha on like turn 1 is probably the worst time to do that, just because you're giving the runner a bad pub for the entire length of the game.
Right.
Ideally, you can remove a tag, but it's like, what do you put this down and a ping in front of it? I guess would be ideal. That's the dream.
Yeah. But that's a lot.
Or like,
you certainly can't do. Well, I guess you could theoretically do it turn 1, right? Because you hedge fund, install.
Yeah, and you've protected that one server real good.
Yeah, they're not getting into HQ,
like
which is good because it's empty. Because you just put your whole hand onto the table.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this, letting those 3 subs fire, taking a net damage, giving the corp card draw, which I've come to appreciate how good it is as the corp.
Mm-hmm.
A lot more, especially with the advent of YDL, which I tend to play a fair amount. I quite like YDL. And then that, end the run if there's more cards in HQ than the grip. After the 2 prior subs, that's quite hard to achieve. If the corp ends their turn on 5 cards,
right?
What is that? You draw, so you're at 6. They take a net damage, so they need to have 7 cards in their hand when they're running. So they go draw, or like Diesel run a piranha, I guess.
Well, and you can also throw off their math. So like, they come to encounter it.
Spin Doctor.
Exactly. So they're like, okay, I'm going to break these 2. I'm 1 card up, or I'm tied with you on cards in hand. You res the Spin Doctor after they break those 2. Now they have to break this 3rd one, and it could throw off their math for the rest of the run. But they've already spent the 2, to break the first 2, which is
Have you had this happen to you?
No, this is just something I was sitting here thinking about. Like, there's got to be a way to get cards on the runner's turn. Oh yeah, the most ubiquitous card in the game.
I was thinking we should do a little like. I'm going to put this out there, and so I'm going to be forced to actually do it. But I was thinking it'd be fun to do some kind of short form video where it's like, so you're new to Netrunner. Let's talk about Spin Doctor and like.
Why it's
60
so good.
different uses for this card and why it needs to be in all of your corp decks.
Yep.
Because it's a card that one card, I feel like Spin Doctor is, if I had to pick one card and give like a gold medal for how perfect it is and how many fun scenarios and cool uses you can find for it, and game states where it matters and is useful, I would give it to Spin Doctor immediately without thinking, because it's like the coolest card in Netrunner. It's boring to some extent, right? It's just like install, draw, shuffle back in, but it's not. There's so many ways that you can use it, like with a piranha or with like cool things where if the runner is running R&D and you want to make sure that the density is low, you can shuffle stuff back in that's not an agenda just on that like last Hail Mary run or whatever. There's just all these cool corner cases.
Right. And like the cool thing about it is that all of them make you feel smart when you do them like correctly, where you're like, oh, you're running at my face down asset. Well, it's a Spin Doctor. I'm going to pop it. So you don't get that dirty laundry money or whatever, like the run is not successful because it's gone. That server's gone. Like that kind of stuff. Or
that's like just baseline. I'm smart move.
Exactly. It's like the lowest level with this. Yeah, exactly. It just manipulating the size of the hand and all this, and you res it to get your YDL to do these things. Ugh. It's a cool card.
I forget.
So this was about RWR cards we really like, and we're just talking about how cool Spin Doctor is.
we can listen, I'm smelling the roses. I caught the scent of a pretty yellow flower, and I just had to go check it out.
All right.
Your turn.
Yeah. Let's talk about other cards that I read them and I was like, okay, but I guess I'll have to see it in play. And then I played it once and I was like, oh my God. And that is Burner. This is a Shaper event, 1 cost. Run HQ. If successful, instead of breaching HQ, reveal 3 cards in HQ at random. Add 2 of the real cards to the top and or bottom of R&D. 3 influence Shaper event. And I hadn't had anyone play this against me until I decided to play a precision design deck. And then Burner promptly was like, oh, no, your seamless go away.
Yeah.
And
Burner is like PD anti-serum or something.
It's so rough against PD. But like anybody, really. I mean, like anytime, I feel like any corp is, not just throwing cards out there. They're probably trying to set something up for the next turn on every turn, You're looking towards if X then Y kind of thing on every turn. And Burner just says, you're not getting those things back for a while. Maybe you can Spin Doctor to shuffle the deck. Speaking of cool things you can do with Spin Doctor.
Yeah.
But like, you still got to redraw into whatever cards you thought you were getting. And, or I can just force you to redraw this card that has like no value to you. You are broke. Great. Here's an 8 strength ice that I'm going to put on top of your deck. So now you can't even maybe draw into econ or something,
Ooh. Sorry. Have to pause and briefly interrupt for another use for Spin Doctor that like is very relevant and important and you should know about, but also like another one where I was like, God damn, Spin Doctor keeps coming with the punches is Cataloger. When somebody hits your R&D with Cataloger, which is a new piece of hardware, 2 costs out of Shaper, 4 influence that says, when you install this hardware, load 2 power counters onto it. When it's empty, trash it. Whenever you make a successful run on R&D, instead of breaching R&D, you may remove 1 hosted power counter to look at the top 4 cards of R&D and arrange them in any order, kind of like a weak indexing for players of yore. And then a click, spend hosted power counter, breach R&D, use this ability only if you've made a successful run on R&D this turn. So you run, you get in a cataloger, you put the agenda on the top because you can't steal it.
Yep.
And then you got to go, you have to remember as the runner who's playing cataloger now to say action if they have a face down card on the board. Because if they
could be Spin Doctor,
it could be spin. They res the spin, shuffle something in, and now that agenda is no longer on top. And you can still like, 1 out of 47 chance or whatever, 1 out of 32 chance of maybe finding that or a different card. But
right,
taking that away with Spin Doctor now is, it's so good. It's so good.
But yeah,
sorry,
Burner.
Totally took you off of Burner, but I just had to interject. I'm sorry.
Hand disruption is just like really strong, and the ability to either just put it at the bottom of the deck where it's never going to come back, or put it on top of the deck and force them to draw it again. Nothing is worse than drawing a card and being like, this card is terrible and does nothing for me, but at least I've drawn it and it's out of the way. And then somebody puts it back and is like, no, you're drawing it again.
Yeah. Getting that second Bologna that you cannot score right now,
right?
Put back on top of your deck, and you go,
God damn.
Okay,
yeah.
We'll kind of skip by Cataloger. It's very, very good.
Yes.
Spin Doctor is its enemy, as we said. So let's see, what's another card? Let's do one more each, and then we'll talk about our glow ups.
All right.
I think mine's Working Prototype. My last one here that I want to talk about.
This card is so cool.
It is very cool.
It is also backbreaking.
It can be.
Yeah.
Like at its base level, it's pretty nice to just be like, oh, I res the thing. Click for 2 credits and you got a trash. And now every time I res something, it's either click for 3 credits or more likely it's threat of clicking for 6 and bouncing a resource.
Right.
I feel like if you're playing these, there's like once a game where you have a good bounce and you bounce a freshly installed, what is the card? The card, the econ card, daily casts.
I mean, I can think of a ton, right? I mean, putting a class act back on top, right? So now you have to draw it, and then you have to pay another 4 for it, or putting DJ Steve back on top. Like, okay, now you've got to spend 2 clicks getting Steve back out. Then you can try to come at my HQ to get triggers off it. Like, and also, by the by, you've gained 6 money for a click. Like, the 5 power counters actually come really quick in the decks that are building for working prototype, because you've got a bunch of assets you're rezzing. A lot of them are ASA groups, so you are rezzing a bunch of ice on all your 1 ice servers. Like, it's
funny because this card was supposed to be like a Thunderbolt card, right? But ASA group is like, nah, I don't need a D-res. I'm just like, I'm rezzing lots of stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got lots of servers. And we saw a game on one of our live streams with Jeff, who came up, and I believe he bounced a
Bonhar.
A Bonhar, like a crucial moment for you.
Yeah, absolutely
and
brutal.
That turns Bonhar off for 2 turns, right? Like,
right.
You're not doing it next turn. You got to wait a whole second turn after that. So
Yep. And again, just the whole, you're going to draw that card, and I know what it is, and you're not going to be able to get all that much use out of it. Really cool. So.
Yeah, without being like Keeling level feels bad. It pushes the core player forward in a cool way and it does set the runner back, but it's not like I trash that thing that you absolutely need. All right, I guess that's enough about working prototype. Nick, do you want to do one more?
Yeah, I want to do Cupulation. So this is another card that is most interesting from a design standpoint to me. It is a 1 cost, 1 MU Crim program. Limit 1 hosted card, and during access, you can pay a credit to host the non-agenda card you are accessing face up on this program. Whenever you breach HQ, if this program has a hosted corp card, you may pay a credit and trash this program to access 2 additional cards. So the multi-access part of it is neat, but the thing that I see this being really useful for is you can use its accessibility when pinholing. So if someone has yes. So if someone has a well-defended like asset that you can't get at, you can pinhole your way in, and instead of having to pay to destroy it, you put it on your Cupulation, and then you can turn it into more accesses later, at which point, it goes to the trash. Or rather to archives, but yeah.
Yo, I did not think about pinhole.
Right, because it's hosts the non-agenda card you are accessing face up on this program, and pinhole does access the card. It doesn't breach, but it accesses.
I like that a lot.
Yes, so like this type of card is what was missing to slow down like Keeling decks or things like that. You know, so anytime there is like a really well defended asset that is giving you a ton of trouble, like that Charlotte Casador, right? If that's behind a bunch of ice and you need to go get it, well, you can with this. So
I really like this for like a Bologna or an Ikoa that you can't deal with.
Well, host the non-agenda card.
Oh, non-agenda.
Yep. So,
okay.
It can't just store the thing and then move it to archives when you're ready to get it.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought it did, and I could not understand why people were so down on it, and I suppose I should have read the card.
It would be much better, obviously, if it could do that with agendas. I mean, can you imagine, like, they have a double advanced, like, they install advance a 5/3, and you just, like, pick it up and
okay, so then I like
I
like the pinhole thing less now.
Yes.
I thought that you could pinhole and go Cupulation a Bologna out of a server.
Oh God.
Which would have been amazing, which is why I reacted that way.
Yeah, no.
I was like, oh my God, pinhole's downside is now pure upside because of another card, but
right. But no, but like this is an interesting, like really cool card to have in the card pool along with pinhole, because of like all of those assets and things that are like really difficult to get rid of. So here I'm thinking of like Sansa and City Grid is what, like a 5 trash cost or something.
Yeah.
Like Cupulation just does that for you, and it gives you this ability to sweep the hand in addition to that, you know?
Yeah, all those. What's the NBN one that's been making the rounds lately? It's an older FFG one. All the FFG cards have like high trash costs. That's how you know it's an FFG card. It's got like a 4 or 5.
Right.
And it's stuff like it's in our plus decks where you score and it bounces a card because of a trace.
Oh, I know exactly. Her name starts with an A.
Mm-hmm.
That's not very helpful, huh?
Tell me more. It's funny. Someone's screaming at their screen.
Okay. Yep.
I'm going to deck list search. I'm going to look for it. Reality Plus, because the people need to know, Nick. If they all know actually, but
yes, that is true.
But it is not Hollow Man. Nope. Imani Sinai.
There you go.
That's it. Thank you.
I was right.
Internet.
I knew exactly what it was.
I
could tell you the art. Anyway. Yeah. So that's like a really cool thing to have. And just, I don't know, like it's also useful. Like you can use it to take apart corp combos, right? You can use this to just take their seamless and just keep it there forever.
No seamless for you. Bad.
Right? Like, I don't know. This whole thing is neat as a way to diffuse a whole bunch of different things that could be problematic, and is also just like a decent utility card, right? Like if you're using this card and you're just making random runs on R&D or whatever, you just host something that is going to be like minorly tempo positive for them, and you turn it into a sweep the hand thing. Pretty cool.
So the problem for me is that Criminal they have a hard time with MU.
Oh, definitely.
So
true, yeah.
I like it in Shaper, I guess. I like it as like a one of in Shaper that I can go fetch when I need it. It's like after an asset's being a problem, I'm like broke, I guess. I might use this in RE to like pop an environmental and then drop the cupulation down and get that thing off the board. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean,
especially in these decks that are spamming the same thing over and over again. It's like, no, you stop it, taking this away from you.
Right. But well, I mean, look, there is always a problem when a card is printed blue, right? And that card is the rest of the blue card. That problem is the rest of the blue cards. So,
Yeah.
But in any event, should we talk about glow ups?
Yeah, we each picked one card that we felt like had a decidedly strong glow up from its previous life before RWR.
Mm-hmm.
And mine was Spec Work. I feel like with the advent of Coalescence and Muse.
Yeah.
Spec Work has been breathed a second life, actually a first life. It never had one in the first place.
I was going to say, I mean, this card is like, I did not know it existed. I thought when somebody was like, oh yeah, Spec Work, and like, especially with the art, it's kind of like, it's playing this music stuff, but it kind of looks like it could be graffiti. I was like, okay, cool. That's a new card from RWR. No.
What did you think we named the section after?
No. Sorry.
Segment.
Well, okay. I knew that it was an existing card today, but when you first were like, hey, I'm playing a Spec Work deck, I'm like, oh, I must not know that card because it's new in RWR and I haven't seen it yet. But no, it was a very old card that I had already seen multiple times and read and gone, no, I'm not dedicating brain space to this.
Okay, maybe my joke didn't land, but my point was that you're on a podcast where one of the segments is named Spec Work. But anyway, we'll stop.
Oh,
yeah.
Wait, the segments are named after cards?
Yeah. Anyway, Spec Work is a one-cost event job subtype, and it says there's an additional cost to play this event. Trash one installed program. Gain 4 credits and draw 2 cards. And when you muse out a Coalescence and you get 4 credits off of that, and then you Spec Work the Coalescence, gain 4 credits off that, draw 2 cards, and then later spec work again, that Muse, it feels pretty good.
Yeah. See also Aesop's Pawn Shop.
Yeah.
But that one was good on its own. So
I think you can do like a 1 Aesop's 2 or 3 spec work build, and that works pretty well.
Yeah.
Because they can eventually start like comboing together. And if you get lucky and you get that Aesop's early, it's cool. But like ideally you want to spec work more because it gains you more money and draws you cards.
Right.
It's the stronger of the two options. It's just limited because you have to have, there's 3 of them in the deck.
Yeah.
So that's my glow up. What about you?
All right. So mine is an ID, and it's a Crim ID. I love Crim IDs. This one is Los, Data Hijacker, a 0-link identity Gmod. The first time the corp reses a piece of ice each turn, gain 2 credits. This was the first standard deck I tried to build, and I think I was running it like in that meta where everyone was playing like 4 ice NEH decks and like R plus stuff with like almost no ice that they would never res unless they were using that tag to kill you. Yeah, it's a very cool card, but it didn't work because there were no real ways to like force it to get value. And now with both Saucy, which is
Saucy's the other one that got like a big glow up.
Well, yes, but that was in the prior set, right? That's still a Liberation Cycle card.
Yeah. So what is it about RWR that now Los and Saucy have a second life?
Window of opportunity.
Okay.
Yeah, it's window of opportunity where it de-reses an ice, which on its own can be pretty backbreaking, but then it gives the corp the option of, hey, if you want to re-res your Anansi for less than 8 credits, you are going to pay me 5 to do it, right? Because 3 from the Saucy, 2 from the Los, right? So
yeah, that's pretty good.
Exactly. And it also puts it face down for that run. And if they want to res it during that run, then they pay the 8 and you still gain the 5. Like,
yeah, I like
insane.
Re-triggering the Saucies for the second and third time. It's like,
yeah,
just kind of mean. Especially, like, can you imagine even putting a second Saucy on something and then wooing window of opportunity?
I've done it.
Yeah,
but
it's good.
Yeah, no, it's great. They res it and you gain 8. Oh, so good.
It's not how that's supposed to work.
I know, but it does. In any event, that is cool. The thing is, I think that combo is good out of not Los too, which is kind of a problem. Like for Los,
is it? It's okay.
I mean, window of opportunity on its own is like just a pretty good like, as an additional like I'm gonna bypass this ice most likely.
I have not seen Saucy outside of Los.
That's fair.
Like in a legitimate deck that is not just a thing that someone put Saucy in, and it is bad.
All right, fair enough.
I mean, it is possible. I just haven't seen it around very much.
Yeah. In any event, it's it's cool. It's cool to see Los getting some play, and I got to play Los at Netrunner, and I let Los down.
Sorry, Los.
Oh well.
Well, I mean, maybe you need to jam more games with Los and turn into the ultimate Losinator.
Nope.
No, you have it on the deck. What are your decks that you're jamming?
Lobby Somum kit, the so-called Grug kit.
Yeah.
And then just kind of a generic PD build. So
I think that you could do much worse with those. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my thought. It's just if I'm going to try hard, I might as well start with the fundamentals. And both of those are very fundamentally decks. Kit is just card draw, econ, and a breaker suite. Period. So
seems. Well, those are all the cards that we have to talk about. I would like to have a quick check-in on like non-Netrunner stuff with you, Nick, before we sign off for the evening.
All right.
What else have you been up to besides Netrunner?
Flooring. I've learned so much about flooring.
All right. Fun stuff.
Oh, I had fun with it. Anyway, yeah, what have I been doing? I've been playing a lot of Helldivers 2.
Yeah.
Very good game. Very silly game. There was a whole kerfuffle over the weekend about account linking or something, and it seems to be resolved. So that's nice.
Account linking.
Yeah, it's internet drama stuff, but basically they were just gonna like make it like harder to use because they're published by Sony, so they were gonna make you log into both Steam and a Sony account to be able to use it, and like they hadn't done that to begin with, and it is weird. But anyway,
got it. Yeah,
but it's a good game. It's a lot of fun. And what else? Slay the Spire. So your journey actually got me back into Slay the Spire, and now I must have played, I don't know, 30 runs in the last 2 days.
Yeah, I've been playing it incessantly as well. It's funny because when I said like, man, I've been playing Slay the Spire a lot. It's really hooked me, and this was brought on by just a randomly tune in for a few minutes. Honestly, like 3 minutes because I couldn't watch the whole thing. To Jeff's most recent stream where he just played Slay the Spire on like a Saturday. And I was like, man, yeah, Slay the Spire. I got to check that out. And it reminded me of the board game because he was talking about, someone asked him if he's got the board game and he said, no, I'm happy with this product. I don't really see the need for it. And I disagree. I wanted the board game. I had seen it around and thought it looked very cool. But the secondhand copies were going for like $250, and that's gross. So I said, okay, I'll wait on that. And I just booted up the game again and played a few runs, and I see now a bit more. Like I had tried it a little bit. I think I had unlocked the first 3 characters, but like not even beaten the third act with anyone. And now I've beaten the third act with the first 3 characters, and have done, a bunch of runs, not a ton. I haven't like beaten the heart yet or anything, but it's been a lot of fun. I think my kids are very perplexed. They're like, why are you playing a card game on the, those aren't, you just play with cards instead. It's like,
yeah, but
you don't get it, kids.
Okay. Cards can't generate me shivs and, like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's very satisfying, and it's fun now to sort of, I don't need to think so hard when I see the relics. I see the pictures and I know what a bunch of them do, and I know what certain enemies are going to do. Like I got to watch out for that. What's that guy's name? The Goblin Knob.
Oh yeah.
The red nasty guy in the beginning. I just avoid bosses in the first.
Play all your skills into him.
Yeah. I play no skills. I just go attack until he dies. And
so him and the Lagavulin, the like kind of white, like, I don't know, he's kind of like a teardrop shape with like little spider legs coming out the bottom.
Oh, I know. Yes.
And all he does is he hits you for 20, he hits you for 20, he hits you for 20, and then he gives you -1 strength and -1 dex. I hate fighting that guy.
Yeah.
Because like if you go long, he's just going to make you useless because you have no strength and no dex. And if you go like just try to like all out blitz him down, well, he's blitzing you back really hard.
Yeah, it's very, very good. They've presented some good puzzles in the game. And I know that, we're very late to the party, or at least I am. It's funny because I mentioned Slay the Spire to you, and you were kind of like, it never really grabbed me. And then you were like, I got back in, and I guess I was on like Ascension 6 to 8 before. It's like, okay, it never grabbed you.
The thing I said where it never really grabbed me, I according to Steam have played this for 256 hours. So
I think it grabbed you just fine.
I think it did, yes.
Yeah. or we have like an extreme situation where the games that do grab you, my God, which might also be true.
I mean, probably. Let's see. How many hours do I have in Stellaris?
Don't look.
774.
But this is a long time. This is like Netrunner for you, right? Like you've been playing, much longer term than Netrunner.
Yeah.
You've been playing that for years.
Yeah, like 7, 8 years. Yeah. It's a good game.
what else? So yeah, Slay the Spire for me. We the two of us got to play another game of Dune Imperium Uprising. This time with Dan B and Andre at Mansion Runner. That was excellent. I think maybe a better game than the two that we had previously played.
Yeah,
in that it was snappier and
so fast paced. Yeah,
that was a lot of fun. That game continues to make me happy, and I'm glad about that. I finished reading Dune or listening to audiobook Dune and Dune Messiah, which I get the message was cool for Dune Messiah, but I enjoyed it significantly less than the original, the first one. But oh well.
Yep.
And then
you gonna soldier on into Children?
The thing is, it costs me money.
Right.
I don't have Audible credits for it, and I don't know. I guess I could get it from my library in digital format. I will try and do that. I think I will probably give it a shot because I kind of want to know what the weird worm. I won't use profane language to describe it. the worm child thing is about, because I've seen images floating around on the internet where there's a worm human.
Oh yeah.
Morbidly curious about that, but I don't know that the juice will be worth the squeeze.
Look, when in doubt, for everything in the world, there is an incredibly detailed wiki out there, a fan-run wiki with 1 million links in it that you can just be like, all right, show me that weird sandworm guy. And then 20 minutes later, you're reading about the deep history and how they compiled the Orange Catholic Bible. And what? No, I'm not describing me last week. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, this is one of your favorite pastimes. This is becoming immersed in the deep lore of X.
Love me some deep lore.
Other things for me, I have been really since the beginning of the year, maybe a few weeks before, because I didn't want to be one of the New Year's exercise people. I was a January 17th exercise person. I mean, a December 17th.
Oh,
so there.
Totally. Yeah. I was at the gym way before, all you guys.
Way ahead of the curve.
Literally exactly 2 weeks.
Yeah. I've been back into exercising, and specifically lifting weights like I did in college, which would at some point in college I metamorphosized from a caterpillar to a person who my wife was like, I guess I should get into this guy. And
the weightlifting helped. That's what you're saying.
I went away for a summer and I came back and I had shed 50 pounds, and she was like, oh my God, you're attractive. And so I was like, you know what, let's do that again. And it's been rewarding. I feel stronger, and that's nice. And the last thing I'll mention for me is that she and I have been slow rolling, rewatching all of the Fast and the Furious movies.
Oh my God. So you started at the beginning?
We were doing it in release order.
Okay.
Yes. We started. Yep.
That first movie is amazing. I mean,
honestly,
it's just Point Break, right? But the part that is cool about it is at the end of every movie, every Fast and the Furious, you watch from that point forward, you have to tell yourself, all this started with them stealing VHS DVD combo players. So, when they put a car into space, you know what put that man there? You know what put that man there? A DVD VHS combo player that he stole from a truck.
Yeah, that was the thing that they were. The VHS combo player. That first movie's pretty dated at this point.
I mean, it's just Point Break, right? It's just Point Break.
I have not seen Point Break, so I can't.
All right. Well, you've seen Fast and the Furious. Okay. So
yes.
Point Break is Fast and the Furious, but instead of cars, it's surfing. The end.
Yeah. Is there NOS?
Yeah. For surfing.
Yes.
They strap a tank of NOS to the back of the surfboard and are just like, let it
would
rip.
work. It would work. I actually haven't
that sounds
seen
inefficient.
All of the I haven't seen all of the Fast and Furious movies in the first place. I had seen the first two, I think, and then maybe one of the whatever and Hutch ones that came later.
Oh yeah, where they're actual superheroes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so now this is fun. We got through. We've seen the first 4 in release order now. Tokyo Drift I kind of like Tokyo Drift, and then following along with the release order naming doesn't make much sense at all. But we just finished this past weekend Fast and Furious, which was the fourth one that came out, and where they are driving heroin across the border under tunnels from Mexico into the U.S.
Amazing.
And then at the end, FBI agent Brian, whatever his name is, just watches Vin Diesel go to jail and is on a bus going to jail, and then they come up on the jail bus and break him out, the FBI agent. And it's dude, that's not how that works.
No, it's fine.
Oh, it's so funny. It's such I have such a hard time with suspension of disbelief in general in movies.
No, look, Fast and
but
the Furious
I have a strong history.
Is not about suspending disbelief. It's about, look at this cool thing we did.
I know. Oh man, there's a moment in Tokyo Drift where my wife and I both looked at each other and we were like, what just happened? Because there's a race. They're going down this mountain with all these curves and they're, drifting around all these corners and everything. And the main antagonist flips his car, goes off the side of the hill, and then the other dude, the protagonist is and I know none of these guys' names, racing around the last corner, comes around the last corner in time for the guy who fell off, who's, going down with gravity. And then the car, he has to dodge the car at the last minute that comes down on top of him. And it's wait,
so he
went around the corner faster than gravity down this slope? Well,
the other guy had NOS and just used that to kind of hover for a while and then try to just knock the other guy down. No, so the other fun thing to do while watching Fast and the Furious, if you're already not super invested in the suspension of disbelief part of it, try to figure out which movie it was that Vin Diesel was able to put into his rider or into his contract that he got an equal number of shots in on anyone who hit him in a fight.
Is that a real thing?
Yes. So Fast and the Furious fight scenes in the later movies are a complex contract negotiation of okay, God, I'm going to punch you in the face. All right. That's fine. But in return for that, I get 2 gut punches to you. Well, no. I mean, that a punch to the face is worth at most 1.5. So you got to balance things out, and there's no winners and losers, and it's amazing. The weirdest thing.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah. Anyway, that's been some dumb fun.
Yep.
I've been enjoying that. Any other fun stuff from you?
I don't think so. No. I've fallen off the exercise train. I got to get back on it. And
all right. Well, yeah. Come on. Yeah. Come join me. I've been looking for we can go bench.
Binge?
Bench. I said bench.
Okay.
We can binge on benching.
You just want to hurt the next day.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess that's a wrap for episode 17 of Neon Static. We've been your hosts, Eric
and Nick.
And if you want to get in touch with us about anything we've said during this podcast, we can be reached by email at neonstaticpod@gmail.com. We're also neonstaticpod on Instagram and Mastodon. No, I'm just going to stop it. Our handles on Discord are Canister and Gullbrander. A link to, the music was creeping up too fast.
Oh, I couldn't even hear it. So I thought you were just making a joke about how we never use Mastodon.
I do get notifications, but we don't get a whole lot of traffic on there. But a link to the New Hampshire Netrunners Discord will be in the show notes, where you can always find us. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com. That's the link. The link's in the show notes to catch videos and live streams. If you enjoy our content, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Damn it, that's twice I did not manage to do it. This is great. I'm leaving this all in.
Love it.
This is too long, by the way. We need to make this shorter. Support us on Patreon, please, if you like what we do and can spare some fun money every month. Okay, now we're outro music. Nick.
Thanks for listening.
And remember to run with your eyes closed, because what you can't see can't hurt you.